So over the past few weeks, Haleigh and I have had the joy of recording conversations with many of you, including the staff here at the church as well as the congregation. And we have asked you why you love this church and why you choose to give to this church. And so I want us to take a moment to thank Haleigh Bird for all of her hard work in editing these videos and making them so wonderful. She is incredible. The slides that you see, the graphics and the videos, that is all Haleigh. And yes, that and our stewardship goes to Haleigh and our many amazing staff members. So church family, I have to tell you that I have loved recording these videos. It has been my favorite thing recently in the last several weeks. I have loved hearing your stories. I have loved hearing your faith and your deep love for Jesus and his church. And every single conversation has reminded me that generosity is not just about money, but it is about what our hearts are passionate about, right? What we love is reflected in how we give, and that is so evident in these videos. And so I want us this morning to watch a video of Butch and Peg Howard, along with their beautiful dog, Arlo. And I want to invite you to listen for the ways that God has transformed their family through their own generosity and the collective generosity of this congregation. One of the reasons stewardship is important is because it allows us to do all that we do, and lives are transformed. People end up being better, brighter, lighter, more filled with peace and joy because of our collective giving. And so I rejoice in what the Spirit of the living God is doing through Butch and Peg and their incredible granddaughters that are on the tech team, Arden, Bryce, and Raya, who make sure our live streaming and our sound and everything happens each and every Sunday. And I invite you now to direct your attention to the screen to see why they give and why they give joyfully. Let's take a look. Tell us your name. And then how long you have been at the church. Start with that.
I am Peg Howard.
No, I'm Butch Howard.
And we've been members of this church since 1988, when Keith Watson was the pastor here. We've been pretty much involved ever since then.
Now, tell us the story of the granddaughters becoming involved in Sunday morning worship.
During COVID, Tim Bradley came up with the idea of getting a little white box in it. You plug the cameras into it, and it sends it out to YouTube. I said, well, I'll stay here and play with it and see what I can get going. And the only thing I could come up with was, it was dreadful. So I asked Rhea, our second oldest granddaughter, I said, do you think you could figure something out? And she came down with me and said, no, stupid, it goes in there. And then, oh, great, okay, I'll do this and everything. And by the time I got down there, it was done. And she pretty well had the whole thing figured out. And Marlon also came up with the 2 cameras along the back wall and brought another granddaughter in to work that.
That'd be Bryce.
Having those girls involved, it is so wonderful. I just love them to death, but they'd come to church with us now and again and sit there with the thing and doodle. Well, sit in the front row and doodle, and we'd lose them, which I've seen it happen so much in this church. But they're getting up on Sunday morning, and they're coming out to the car on time, and they're involved. Well, it's great for me because I get to see them every week.
Talk about the mission trips and the impact it's had on the girls, and just positive changes that you've seen in them, and just how it's been beneficial.
Emily and Brent, there's just no comparison to what those two have done. This year was Arden's first year. This is Bryce's third. It has helped build confidence. It has been social. There's a great social network. They are more comfortable around people they don't know. It's just the doors that this church has opened for all the youth, not just necessarily our granddaughters, has been outstanding, and there's nothing can compare to it. Emily and Brant have just hugged them with all four arms, and especially Emily.
Oh, just her two and his.
Just her two and then Brant's two, so.
The thing about this mission trip is, prior to this one, like you ask them, hey, how was school this week? And you got the teenage eye roll and, okay, good. That's it. All the girls are shy. When they came back from the mission trip, I said, well, Arden, how was your first mission trip and your plane ride? And she launched and you couldn't shut her up. It sounded prettier than babies talking in the back of the sanctuary.
There's just been so much warmth and so much gratitude from our family to everybody in this church. It's not a church, it's a family. It's an extension of a family.
In Estes, my mom was kind of instrumental in starting the Lutheran church. So consequently, I was a Lutheran for a while. I went from the Lutheran church until third grade. Then I shot my mouth off one day to my mother and ended up in Illinois at a Catholic church. So I was a Catholic for a little while. And I came back and learned to shut my mouth, but so my religion stopped somewhere around in there. Peg was a Methodist, grew up Methodist. We came here because Peg told me to. I met Keith. Well, he was the pastor, but he was human. He wasn't the guy in the Catholic Church, but he still scared me to death. Wasn't much longer after that, and he says, well, who's volunteering for this program? Stand up. Have you ever volunteered for that program? Stand up. Has anybody ever volunteered for something else? Stand up. I get to looking around, and I'm the only one sitting on my duff. And the view of everybody standing up in church isn't all that wonderful, and it wasn't that much longer. Later, I went into Keith's office and said, what can I do to volunteer? That brought me into the church and took away fear and took away shy.
He used to be very quiet. Can you believe that?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, me too.
Yeah, I tell you, can't shut you up either.
I know, but it's true. I was so shy, painfully shy. So it's interesting. I didn't know that about you, Butch.
Well, I was a drinker. Bordering on the brink, professional. And I started with at Alcoholics Anonymous. Being in a room with a bunch of kind of guys that are down and out, and talking about God helping pulling you out of the hole. Here's God in a meeting with drunks, and here's God in this beautiful church. And I made that transition, and I still have AA in my life, but now I've got the real God in my life too.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, Butch. Peg, do you have anything that you want to add?
Basically, I don't know what I would do without this church. I can say very easily our gifts have brought us some peace. Our gifts have supported our youth group. Our gifts have supported our building. It's wonderful to feel that our gifts matter. And your gifts can do the same.